Hey, what's happening, gamers? Welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles on KwingsLetsPlays. How's everybody doing? Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. As well as special shoutouts to our friends over at Capcom for providing a copy of this game for review, walkthrough, and live stream purposes. So, what's happening today is we start the trial of case number 4 today, and we'll see what happens. Our friend Natsumi-san is on trial for a crime that he didn't commit because he is just this English student who just happens to be in London, and everything goes wrong for him. So, without further ado, it's time to continue the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles as we are nearing the end of the first game in the Great Ace Attorney Adventure series. There's only one more case after this, and then we go to the next game. So, without further ado, it's time to continue.
Is a mile away from you.
The mic works fine. You need to be closer.
I don't want it in my face.
February 20th, 9:23, the Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. Well, I never expected this. Who would have thought we'd be back here again so soon? Literally days later.
We are on a study tour of Great Britain with the intention of learning the country's legal practices. In order to research the latest court procedures here, we need as much court experience as possible.
Well, yeah, I suppose that's true, but for the person in the dock, it may well be his or her one and only time in court, and it could be life-changing. In which case, treating it as research may seem a little crass.
Oh, when you put it like that, you're quite right.
Good morning. What? Ah, Mr. Natsumi. Good morning to you.
Oh dear, are you all right, Mr. Natsumi? Your eyes are terribly bloodshot.
He looks terrible. The early bird catches the worm, as they say here in Britain. Yeah, I've heard that expression. But I really want to catch a worm. I don't want to catch one. So I tried desperately not to wake up early, but I was so worried I couldn't catch a wink. And now, I am absolutely exhausted as a result. Do you all literary people take things so literally?
Thank you for putting your faith in us today, Mr. Natsume.
I wish I had 9 lives. My whole future hangs in the balance. I'm too terrified to tremble. But you're trembling. Really? Because I can feel tremors in the floor from you. I can't do this! I can't take it! Although, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Yeah, what is it? I caught a glimpse of the public gallery as I walked by the courtroom. It looked like the opening night of the opera. There were so many people. I had no idea my case was such a notorious affair here in London. Oh, well, neither did I. Do you know what that might be, Miss Susie?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Naruhodo, but I have no idea.
So that all-knowing look on your face is just a coincidence then, is it? Don't hide the truth from me! It's because the Reaper, isn't it? Oh, Lord Van Zeeks? Is that right, Miss Susie?
Thanks so much for the super chat, Blue Axe. You're breathtaking. Thank you so much. I purchased as many different newspapers as I could find this morning, and yes, Lord Van Zeeks is the front page of every one.
Uh-oh. I knew it.
Sometime after the prosecutor was dubbed the Reaper of the Bailey, he stopped appearing in court, it seems. It's been several years now, in fact, until the day before yesterday.
Yeah, Inspector Gregson told us something similar, didn't he? The trial 2 days ago marked Van Zeek's return to the courtroom after a very long hiatus. The trial of Magnus McGiddle. What a harrowing experience that was.
I believe that appearance made even greater waves here in the capital than today's.
But we wouldn't have realized, of course, having only just arrived in the country.
Why is the Reaper back in the Bailey so soon for what appears to be a mundane murder? That's the question the papers have been asking, Ryunosuke, and they are speculating various answers.
Mundane, mundane, mundane! It's the most significant saga of the century to some of us.
Oh dear, I meant no offense, Mr. Natsume, but that is how the papers are describing it.
Well, at least, we also forget the fact that it could spark an international incident. Obviously, the reappearance of this infamous prosecutor has caught people's attention. But there's another blatant similarity with the trial or two days ago.
Yes, I agree.
Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire, it's you! Me? Well, I suppose that's true. Both times it is you who stands against this legendary prosecutor. It can only mean that you're friends with the Reaper! Please, I don't rub shoulders with Deathbringers.
I'm afraid that there's really only one other explanation.
Oh?
It can only be another example, Mr. Naruhodo, of your uncommon bad luck.
Ah, thanks for that. Oh, this is just my luck. Why must I be represented by a man with such frail fortune? By the least lucky lawyer alive! Well, let's not forget that it was you, Mr. Natsume, who asked me to represent you, so... Oh! Yeah, it's true that I'm just a student new to London with a little in the way of experience or skills or luck or fashion sense or anything like that, but I promise you this. I will fight in your corner until the bitter end, and I will believe in you, Mr. Natsume. Oh, benevolent student from Mr. Naruhodo. I'm so happy.
You're not alone here with us. You're with us, Mr. Natsume. Whatever happens, we will always be on your side.
Oh, benevolent assistant Miss Mikotoba Esquiress. That doesn't work. I'm in your debt forever. I shall never forget this great kindness as long as I live. Mr. Natsume, counsel for the defense. The court session is about to begin. Kindly make your way into the courtroom at once. Okay. Alright then, Mr. Natsume, it's time. Let's go. Yes! Interesting little intro. This is it. My second appearance in a British courtroom. And my second trial against the Reaper. I hope you're watching over me, Kazuma. Because this time, I won't let my faith waver. I believe in my client to the last. Just like you believed in me. I believe I can do this now. I'm ready for this fight. But it's not necessarily Ryunosuke's fault that Mr. McGiddle was a bad guy. He just was a bad guy pretending to be innocent. There's a difference.
Yeah.
And he caught that, too. And then he tried to get the guy convicted because he knew something was wrong. 20th of February, 10 a.m., the Old Bailey courtroom. Another colorful cast of characters. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session.
We might be the same people.
Oh, really? I now will call upon the counsels for the prosecution and the defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is fully prepared, my lord. The defense is ready, my lord. The Nipponese are a truly fascinating breed. I'm sorry, what did you just say? Lord Strongheart has told me all about you. That you are a student who arrived in London but 2 days ago, a mere amateur. Do you have a point? Being a compatriot, you feel compelled to try to help the accused, I suppose. Typical Nipponese arrogance. Wow.
Forgive me, but I do not believe arrogance is an appropriate description.
Susie.
After all, at our previous encounter, the defendant was found to be innocent.
Drinking during the day. Yes. But then he had a unfortunate accident. Very true, a most fascinating if dark trial it was, too. The tragic conclusion came later, of course. Here's to the acquitted and his unfortunate violent end. Okay. Thank you, consuls. I see both sides are in fine fettle. Now then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, are you ready to carry out your duties here in the court as impartial members of the public? What? Him?
That guy?
Oh, wow. You never know when you might be down on your luck, but I believe in fair play for everyone.
Oh, well, I must warn you, I'm rather more ruthless than I appear. Okay.
Oh, well, not me. What you see is what you get. I'm a peace-loving fellow. Haha. Oh.
Oh, I'm afraid to say, I think it quite possible that mustached foreigner did the deed.
Wow, she's kind of related
come
to the
on.
case.
What are we waiting for? No doubt he did it.
Sorry, don't quite catch that.
Very well, let us proceed. Your opening statement, if you please, Lord Van Zeeks, whatever. Very recently, Great Britain signed an alliance with the rising power in the Far East. The accused in the docks today is a student from that same land, a certain Mr. Natsume. And while our country has extended this foreign student in the warmest of welcomes, yeah, you see where he lives? Regrettably, the kindness has not been returned. In fact, the student is accused of a most sinister act.
What do you mean, lives?
Well, he has a terrible apartment.
Oh, yeah.
Of plunging a knife into the back of an innocent woman who was doing nothing but walking down the street.
Yeah, why would he? That doesn't even make sense.
A knife crime? I tell you from bitter experience, those are the worst. Bloody oath they are.
Oh, just look at that sallow complexion, short stature. He's one of those dreadful Japanese people.
Wow.
Whoa, lady.
Come on, let's get over with. Everyone, 1, 2, 3.
Sorry, didn't quite catch anything at all.
Man, he riled everybody up. Pray forgive the discourtesy of smashing my hollow chalice here in a great chamber, such as these. Allow me to call the first witness to the stand. Very well. Bailiff, lead the inspector in, please. Fish and chips guy.
Day drinking, yep.
Your name and occupation, if you please. Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector at Scotland Yard. Would you please summarize the events of the case for the court, Inspector? The victim is thought to be a young woman in her 20s by the name of Olive Green. I beg your pardon, Inspector. I thought to be... Yes, well, having been stabbed in the back by the attacker's knife, the victim is still, well, unconscious. That was 3 days ago now, and she's been comatose ever since. What? So they don't even know who she is for sure? Comatose, I see. But her life is not in danger, correct? Fortunately for the Eastern student, the charge will not be murder. Pray elaborate on the details, Inspector. Ah, sir! I could ask for everyone to look at the street map, if you please. Oh, that's nice. As I mentioned, the incident took place 3 days ago at around 5 in the afternoon. It happened on the pavement alongside the Briar Road, a wide thoroughfare for horse-drawn vehicles. Should have said carriages. Vehicles doesn't really sound good. It had been not long since stopped snowing as the victim, Miss Green, was walking down the street. Okay. Out of the blue, she was approached from behind by the accused and stabbed in the back. But for what reason? Luckily, the young lady's life was spared, and she's currently being treated in one of the city's hospitals. But being unconscious as she is, we've been unable to take a statement from her, of course. This is a case file with everything we know about the victim so far. I see. Thank you, Inspector. The court will accept the documents as evidence if you please. Case files have been added into the court record. Okay, so that's what the case is about. Good to know. What of the weapon that was used? Ah, sir, we have that here. It was removed from the victim's back. Ouch. Ouch! That big thing is starting to make me scared to walk down the street now.
With a heavy blade like that, almost anybody would have been able to stab the poor woman.
Even the, what? Shaggard?
Scragged looking?
Ah, even the scragged looking, Natsumi-san, I suppose. A common or garden jackknife, I would say, rather nondescript. Thank you, Inspector. The court accepts the blade as evidence as well. The jackknife has been added to the court record.
Yep, and... Oh, okay. I was just gonna say, I don't know if we said it, but thanks again, Capcom, for providing a copy of this game, and don't forget our newsletter, guys and gals. It's free. It'll inform you of all the videos and streams going up. And please, please leave a like and comment after the video goes live, public, because it does help us out a lot, and it will help us out tremendously. So, yep, thanks again, Capcom. You're breathtaking. Thank you so much.
Okay. Now then, what we know of motive, money or valuables, I presume? From what we can tell, looking at the woman's possessions, it seems like she's a poor student herself. Hard to imagine she would have had anything much more pinching, my lord. I see. Well, in that case, we are looking at some deep-seated resentment toward the victim, perhaps? I'm afraid I couldn't say. Apart from the visiting second-hand bookshops, the defendant, Mr. Natsumi, doesn't appear to get around much. At this moment in time, we haven't been able to establish any sort of connection between him and the victim.
Yes!
Hello? If, theft and grievance had been ruled out as the motive, what reason could Mr. Natsumi possibly had for stabbing the young lady? Yet, you arrested the man in spite of that. I'm in totally unjustified and heavy-handed way.
Objection!
Objection! My bottle is gone. Now there is no more drinking today. Pray forgive the discourtesy of flinging a freshly uncorked bottle into the public gallery. But your words have soured its hallowed banquet. For it is you, my learned friend, who is being very heavy-handed here. Huh? Scotland Yard does not arrest people without good cause. That should be beyond question. Inspector Gregson, the prosecution calls for your formal testimony, if you please. Explain to the court precisely why the constabulary came to arrest the Nipponese. Yes, sir. Alright, testimony time.
Testimony hype.
Reason for arresting Mr. Natsumi's arrest. As I said, it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon when the incident occurred, and there was an unusually light fog. Visibly was reasonably good, and there was no one else about the victim and the accused. Out of the blue, the victim was stabbed from behind and subsequently collapsed on the pavement. The accused ran off, scattering his belongings all over the floor. Thus being a number of old books he had just bought on his way home from a bookstore, it seems. It was just a matter of working out who the books belonged to, and we found the bloke and arrested him. Okay, that's actually a short testimony. The old books, you say? Yes, my lord. I have a photograph here of the scene of the crime taken immediately after the incident. Oh. Ooh. Yes, I can clearly see the books to which you are referring. I will take the photographic print as evidence, please, Inspector. The crime scene photo has also been added into the court record. You Nipponese are a spineless breed, too cowardly to admit defeat. Denying everything despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. Well, Oh, Susie.
Oh, forgive me, Lord Ben Sykes, but the defendant is not denying everything, as you put it.
What are you doing, Miss Susie? Do go on, Miss Susie.
Mr. Natsumi has admitted to playing some part in the incident. Isn't that right, Mr. Naruhodo?
Well, now that you mention it, when we visited him in prison yesterday, he did tell us what at all happened. So, I was walking along that accursed pavement. I could make out the sole silhouette of another ahead of me. A woman wearing green overcoat. She was, and just as I went to overtake her, she suddenly let out a scream and collapsed onto the cold hard slabs of stone at my feet. I was terrified. I had to get away from there. So I ran as fast as my legs could carry me back to my accursed lodgings.
He shouldn't have left his books.
A green overcoat. Well, that's exactly what the woman in the print is wearing, yes?
Oh my! A photographic print in full color? What will the world come to next?
The defendant has done nothing more than admit to fleeing the scene of a terrifying incident. This does not mean that he's guilty of the heinous crime of stabbing the woman in the back. There was nobody else there at the time, just the two of them, the victim and the accused. In other words, there is nobody else who could possibly have stabbed the woman. The fact that the accused concedes. Huh? It seems this cross-examination could prove to be pivotal, counsel. Proceed, please. Yes, my lord. Nothing for it. I have to use this cross-examination to turn the tables here. It's our only chance. Okay, then. Oh, my goodness. Mr. Natsumi's arrest. Again. Okay. As I said, it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon when the incident occurred, and that was... Wait, now I've made him... As I said, it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon when the incident occurred, and there was an unusually light fog. Unusually light fog. Hold it! A light fog, you say? Well, light for London. You could see the opposite side of the street for once. Not much further, though. That's light, is it? Around those parts, yes. But nothing I'd expect a Japanese fellow like yourself to know, of course. I've read that London is famous for its fog. But in my country, people usually imagine that gives the city a rather beautiful appearance. How quaint. Yes, well, it's not something us Londoners tend to romanticize. I'd expect you to, you can appreciate. I see. At this time of year, the fog causes a large number of accidents, especially when it's heavy. Sometimes you can't even see your own hand at the end of your arm. Indeed, the other day I was very nearly trampled by horses before I could see the carriage they were even pulling. Susie and I should definitely remember to stop, look, and listen. However, on the day of that concerns us, the fog was somewhat lighter than usual. A fact no doubt lamented by the accused. Huh? Okay. Visibly, it was reasonably good, and there was no one else about the victim and the accused. Hang on. How are you able to state that with any certainty, though? Quite simply, my learned friend, because that is what the witness to the crime has told us. Ah, yes, Inspector Gregson mentioned that the witness yesterday, didn't he?
That's right! One of them is a policeman, I believe, from Scotland Yard.
That is correct, ma'am. That is correct, ma'am. Then we must hear his testimony. The prosecution will, of course, call them to the stand, should it be necessary. But wait a minute! After 5 o'clock in the afternoon in the middle of winter, it would have been dark already. No matter how light the fog might have been, no one could have seen... I am unaware of the situation on our tiny islands in the east. But here in the capital city of Great Britain, all main roads are illuminated in the night by gas street lights. Ah! The prosecution believes there would have been ample light by which to witness the crime. Quite, yes, here in London, for the first time in history, mankind has completely conquered the darkness. Which means we really need to hear those witness statements. Oh, if I could just get through the fog of this cross-examination, maybe we'll be able to. It seems the counsel of the defense is taking stock. Continue with your testimony, Inspector. Okay. Out of the blue, the victim was stabbed from behind and subsequently collapsed onto the pavement.
Hold it!
From behind, you say? That's right. As you can see from this print here. Dun, 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 dun. Yes, quite so, Inspector. The handle of the weapon is clearly protruding from the victim's back. And you say this poor woman, Miss Green, remains in critical condition, comatose no less? I'm afraid so, my lord, yes. She's been treated as Barts. I was hopeful that she would come around before the trial started so I could take a statement, but it hasn't been.
It's okay. Sometimes I say English words and it sounds like something else when I'm trying to say it in English. It sounds like you're saying bots.
Ah, bots, okay. Yes, they were a common thing in the, the Victorian era of, England.
Channel bots.
Yeah, there you go. Yes, that is indeed a pity. It would have been most illuminating to hear the victim's own account of the events. Luck is on our client's side, it seems. Wait, on the contrary, my client has been exceedingly unlucky. Your force of tone is seriously undermined by those disturbingly wide eyes, I'm afraid. The accused ran off, scattering his belongings all over the floor.
John,
Hold it!
Trying to. Mr. Natsumi's belongings, I think you'll find it's there in the photographic print of the crime scene. Yes, the 3 books on the floor. That's right, me lord. The second-hand books were there. They were damaged after falling in the snow, of course. The accused could easily have carried all 3 books in one hand, which means his other hand would have been free to wield a knife, for example. Uh-oh.
Oh, he's very clever, isn't he?
What do you mean, Susie?
He's made it extremely hard for you to assert that Mr. Natsumi had his hands full with his books. He's managed to close the one avenue of escape we might have had before we knew it was there.
You mean to say that the defendant was holding his belongings as he thrust the knife into the woman's back? That must be what happened, me lord, yes. Uh-oh. Those belongings being a number of old books he had just bought, he was on his way home from the bookshop, it seems.
Hold it!
The defendant apparently visits a second-hand bookshop on a daily basis. Yes, so I understand. A shop full of English literature. I commend the accused on the lofty subject matter of his scholarly intention. The bloke's room was scattered, floor to ceiling, with those musty old books. Can you tell us more about the bookshop in question, please, Inspector? Well, if I must. Well, I have to ask you to look at the street map again, I'm afraid. Okays. The closest second-hand bookshop to the accused lodgings is here in, Bourbon Books. I think.
Bourbon Books is correct.
Okay, so, yeah. Little piece on the corner of Briar Road on the Mearscum Street.
Mearscum Street, Mearscum Street. It doesn't, I don't
I
know
like
English.
Mearsum sounds better than Mearscum, so we'll say Mearsum. Okay. As it happens, the accused is currently living in lodgings on the other side of Briar Road on the opposite end, which means it doesn't take a genius to work out the route he had taken home. Yeah. Something like this. The local map information has been added to the court record. Words. Okay. Yes, I concur with your conclusion, Inspector. The defendant would certainly have passed the scene of the crime on his way home from that particular store. What is it, Susie?
Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. I think that what the inspector just told us could turn out to be of vital importance.
Yeah, I agree. The most important point that the inspector just made being... the book's name, the book's location... probably the name of the bookstore.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll try that.
I mean...
Yes?
I don't know. Somebody says that that's not the correct bookstore that he went to. That they got the bookstore wrong or something.
Oh, okay.
In the chat. I don't know.
Alright. Well, let's try that. Inspector Gregson, may I ask you a favor? What? Would you kindly add the name of the bookstop to your formal testimony, please? I believe it may be of vital importance to this case. Maybe? Oh, well, you know, I mean, yes. It would be a very important clue. Probably. Very well. Not that I can see it being of any great significance, but, please revise your testimony accordingly, Inspector. Yes, sir, my lord. Whatever you say. Could this be any more of a sardonic? What? I have no idea.
Sardonic, it means like dark, sarcastic.
Oh, could this man be any more sarcastic and dark? That works. He was on his way home from the Bourbon Books, a secondhand bookstore he apparently patronizes. No, I believe there was a different name of the bookstore.
Yeah, that's what the chat is saying. It's a different bookstore name.
Alright, let's see. How do I present again? It's, did it say L1 or R1? R1. Okay. Armband, local map. Secondhand bookshop receipt. Name of the bookstore. Sum of shillings. The picture. What's the name of the... Oh, there's the name of the books. Your Books.
Yeah, that's the name that that's the name of the bookstore he went to.
Okay.
Your Books.
Okay.
Objection.
If, you could just stop here, Inspector, for a second, please? What is it, Sunshine? I'm a busy man, you know.
He still has his fish and chips?
Yeah. It's part of his trait. This is a receipt that we found in Mr. Natsumi's room. It was issued on the day of the incident and details the purchase of 3 second-hand books. And you found this with the accused room, did you? Yeah, but the point is not where the receipt was found, but the name of the shop printed on it. Go on. This receipt was issued from a bookshop called Your Books. Your Books? Your, I presume? Yes, my lord. So Mr. Natsumi did indeed purchase a number of books at a second-hand shop that day. However, the bookshop in question was not Bourbon Books. What? Inspector, did you know of this other bookshop? Yes, sir, of course. Your Books is another second-hand bookshop not far from the Bourbon Books. It's just that, well, it's such a small place, I didn't think the accused would have known about it.
Objection.
But in fact, objection. It is the bookshop which the defendant visited on the day in question. And this receipt proves it. Objection. Yes, for what difference it makes. Whether the main purchase is musty tomes, it makes no difference in the final analysis.
Yeah, it does, because you traced him to the bookstore.
I disagree. I mean, after all,
I have the street map here, if that might help, Naruhodo.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Here, have a look at this, if you please. If the defendant had been returning from Bourbon Books, as you say, then yes, he would have certainly passed the place where Miss Green was attacked. However, if we take into account the fact that he was actually at another bookshop, Your Books, it may very well turn out that he didn't have that he wouldn't have passed the location at all.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, could that be true?
Oh my! It rather depends on where this bookshop is, but I do declare it may be a possibility.
Is that right, Mr. Lawyer, sir? What you just said? Absolutely. It's absolutely could be right. Okay. Inspector Gregson, where is your books establishment, eh? Well, obviously, we looked into that. It turns out that your books, is just here on the next corner of Mearsome Street, going east. The local map's information has been updated into the court record. And there you have it. As you can clearly see now... Oh! It makes no difference where he bought the books, because he either would have gone this way or the other way. My learned Japanese friend is obviously in training to be a clown. The way he regales us with such witticums. To your future career in the circus!
You put that glass down now, or I'll put it down for you.
I don't think I need to spell it out, but here we go. He could go the opposite way and still run into the lady in green. If the accused was coming home from your books instead of bourbon books, there's no doubt he still would have passed the place where the victim was stabbed. Yes, thank you, Inspector. Allow me to reiterate for my learned friend, if somewhat slow Nipponese friend. Another chalice. Whether the man purchases musty tomes, it makes no difference in the final analysis. Yeah! Oops.
Oopsies.
Here's what I suspected. You can't fool me, and I don't suggest you try.
What did I say? I've had enough of this, no?
Beg your pardon, terribly sorry, but would you mind repeating that?
Mr. Naruhodo! You mustn't give up!
What? What do you mean?
If the prosecution's assertion is correct, the members of the jury may well decide that Mr. Natsume is guilty.
Oh, that's absolutely right.
We must consider the assertion just put forward by the prosecution very, very carefully.
They claim that Mr. Natsume must have passed the location of the incident on his way home from your books, but... Well, when in doubt, always say objection!
Objection.
Why are you moving away?
What? You were talking. I wasn't talking.
Okay, I just saw you bolt away from me for a second.
I was looking at something on my phone.
Oh, okay. The assertion just made by the prosecution is fundamentally flawed, I think. Explain yourself, please, counsel. Yes, my lord. You can see what I mean on this map. Where are you going with this, Ryunosuke? When returning from your books to his lodgings, to his home, Mr. Natsume could have followed the route suggested by the prosecution. However, well, that isn't the only conceivable route to take between the two places.
That's true, he could have just come by there, and then barely went by her.
If the defendant used these streets, look what happens. He arrives back at his lodgings without passing the location where the victim was attacked.
Objection!
No! Talking back to a clown is a fool's errand, of course. However, I feel compelled to point out that route is what is commonly referred to as the long way around. Huh? On a cold winter's night, why would any man choose to take a longer route home? Well,
I don't know. I mean, you would ask him.
The answer is extremely simple. He wouldn't, in other words. The accused took the obvious route back to his lodgings and is obvious perpetrator of this crime. Objection! Yes, I've got it. Obviously, we must ask the man himself, Mr. Natsumi, which route he took home. I have already informed the court of the accused's response to such questioning. He claims he has no recollection. Ha! Ha ha ha!
What? Why would he say that?
That's right. Oh, whoops. Yes, that's right. As I've said, the bloke seems to have spent his time outside wandering aimlessly from A to B. That day was no exception. He says he doesn't remember where he was for which route he took home. What? I don't believe this! There you are. I thank you, my learned friend, and suggest that we do not waste any more of the court's time by wandering aimlessly around the subject. Pray, what you say, you insightful jurors? But even if it's the case, the defense still...
Hold it!
Oh, crap.
Uh-oh.
I agree with Lord Van Sykes. Wholeheartedly in every way. What? I don't believe it. It does. Does this mean? We members of the jury are completely convinced now.
Oh, great.
Very well. In that case, I hereby call upon all members of the jury to present your findings to the court.
Guilty.
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 Oh, gosh.
Guilty. Guilty.
Oh, well, some of their voices were different.
That's why I don't like the English on.
Yeah,
because then you can come up with your own. It would appear the jury's learning is unanimous. I win again. To the insightful members of the jury, I applaud your brave resolve. You served Queen and country admirably. Oopsies.
Mr. Naruhodo!
No, not yet. This isn't over yet. I still have one last chance to sway the opinion of the jury. I have to tip the balance of those scales the other way. I have to turn this around. Somehow. Those are the eyes of Quarry, not yet willing to give up and die. So I presume you intend to wield your rights again in this trial. Rights of the defense written in that antiqued British law that should have been buried long ago. Call it antique if you will, but it's the defense's prerogative to carry out a summation examination if it so chooses. Very well. Yes, very well, counsel. In accordance with the letter of the law, we shall proceed with the summation examination. Are you members of the jury ready, Mr. Foreman? Of course we are ready. I'm all too familiar with what that Napanese whippersnapper and his uncas refusal to throw in his alley. What? Very well then.
No idea.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will each explain on what grounds you have determined the defendant to be guilty.
Okay.
All right then. Judicial findings. The jurors' contentions. For pity's sake, that little Napanese oddity already admitted it himself, did he not?
If he said that a woman in great green collapsed before his eyes, why, it can only have been the victim.
I say, the man wouldn't have gone around the houses on his way back from a bookshop, not in winter.
So the poor woman was attacked from behind, was she? How dreadful.
I really don't care. Can we just wrap this up now? I've got work to be doing.
Your books, yes. Nice shop, that. But bourbon books, not worth a visit at all.
Okay.
Okay. With only minor exceptions, the reasons for finding the defendant guilty are all too clear. Yes, when the stabbing occurred, only 2 people at the scene were the victim and the accused. And the accused himself has admitted to seeing the victim in green overcoat sink to the ground before his eyes. Furthermore, we have heard from the inspector that the defendant that then fled the scene, which is never a good outcome. I must say I would have ample grounds to convict this man already.
Oh dear. Even the judge appears convinced of Mr. Natsumi's guilt now.
Why did he have to run away like that? And now, how are we supposed to believe in some phantom attacker that nobody could see? This is impossible. How can I possibly make sense of this for the defense?
Mr. Naruhodo, this is no time for grumbling.
Huh?
If we want to force the trial to continue...
Yes, I know. I have to turn the tide. I must make the jurors change their minds. Well, 4 of them at least.
Exactly. We have no choice but to forge forward.
You have the floor, counsel. Begin your summation examination, please. Yes, my lord. Ow! I just need to keep this trial going somehow, whatever it takes. Come on, Ryunosuke, you can do it. Probably. Jury examination. The defense rebuttal. For pity's sake, that little Napanese already said something. I am incredibly prejudiced. Blah, 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 blah.
If he said that a woman in green collapsed before his eyes, it could only have been that victim.
The man wouldn't have gone around houses on his way back from a bookshop, not in winter.
So the poor woman was attacked from beyond, was she? How dreadful.
I really don't care. Can we just wrap this up now? I've got work to be doing. I don't like you, so we're pressing you. Hold it!
Yeah, like, of course it matters.
A man's life is on the line, sir. This will take as long as it takes. Don't you get clever with me now, son. My life's on the line too, and it so is me family's. Likes of you wouldn't understand, but a laborer like me can't afford to take time off. If I don't work, I don't eat, and neither do the wife and the kids. Oh, I see. That must be very hard. I got to the union every morning to go find out what needs to be doing. If you're late and the work's taken, it's tough. This time of year, there's water and gas supply pipes bursting left and right and center. They're after cheap laborer to get the roads up and fixed. It's hard slug from dawn till dusk it is. So, you were out digging up the roads on the day of the incident as well, were you? That's right. In fact, if I remember rightly, it was just around the corner from where it all happened. By that old bookshop it was. What? Another coincidence. That's right. Mearsome Street it was. Mearsome Street, huh?
On the map, Mr. Naruhodo, there are only 3 named streets.
The juror number 5. I need you to add that information to your formal statement, please. What's the point in that? Can't we just get this business over with now? Please, sir. It's important. Fine, I'll do it then. On the day it happened, I was digging up Mearsome Street from dawn till dusk.
Your books, yes. Nice shop that. But bourbon books, no, not worth a visit.
You can do the old man if you want. I don't care.
I like your old man, actually.
It sends a shiver down my spine to hear the members of the jury so convinced of Mr. Natsumi's guilt. But I can't help feeling that some of their opinions are rather subjective.
I agree. It's the irrelevance of what some of them are saying that sends a shiver down my spine. Still, at least some of their assertions don't actually incriminate Mr. Natsumi or anything. That's something.
We must use that to our advantage, Mr. Naruhodo. Cunningly.
Yeah, you're right. Let's listen to the jurors again carefully. And if there are any assertions that are odd, I'll pit them mercilessly against one another.
Yes, don't hold back. Pit them against each other.
For pity's sake, that little Napanese oddity already admitted it to himself, didn't he?
Aw, If he said that a woman in green caught before his eyes, then why can it... It could only have been the victim.
Okay. So, how do we do... Oh, we have to pit people against each other again. The man wouldn't have gone around the houses on his way back bookshop, not in winter. Okay, so this is another person who... Let's try pitting him. Against this guy.
Okay.
Objection.
Those two statements are clearly at odds with one another. How so? An odds counsel, explain yourself right this instant. Please, don't point, it wasn't me, I swear! What now? I just want to get this done and get dusted. Well, juror number 3? Yes, Misa, what do you mean? What is it? Juror number 5's words just now are extremely significant. Let's take a moment to consider the implication of what's been said on our map of the local area. On the day in question, Mr. Natsumi visited this bookshop to purchase a number of second-hand books. And on the same day, we now know that there were works being carried out on Mearsome Street, making it impassable. Which means that the defendant's route home could not have been taken through Mirror Street. But, what? Oh, yes, of course. What do you think, sir? Well, yeah, we can't argue with that, really, can you? We must have had a good 2 yards or more of the pavement up. Every gentleman and gentlewoman that came along had to turn back and go the other way. So, the only conclusion is this. The defendant must have taken the longer route back to his lodgings. Yes, I suppose he must have. I suppose that must be right, eh? Juror number 3, you said the following. The man wouldn't have gone around the houses on his way back from the bookshop. But, we see now that he had no choice. Oh, yes! My lord, Mr. Judge, sir, if I may. Yes, what is it? I don't think in all good conscience that I can say the man's guilty now. Yes, that's right. Yes, I'd like to see this trial continue so we can get to the bottom of what really happened.
Yay, good job, juror number 3.
He seems like a nice guy.
I don't even understand how that... What happened?
What about you, sir? Oh, me? Well, alright then. If there's an O in the prosecution's argument, it should be filled in, that's what I say. Because I fill in O's for a living. Road construction guy. Or laborer.
Yep. Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo. That was wonderful.
What don't you understand?
Nothing. I'll ask you after the case. It just doesn't...
Oh, okay.
I don't understand what... I don't understand some of it, but it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It'll take too long to explain.
Sure. Well, we've managed to change a couple of minds at least. It's, strengthened our position somewhat. Well, basically what Ryunosuke is telling the court is that guy who was tearing up the roads, there's no way that, Natsumi-san could have taken that way, the shortest way.
He was tearing up the roads.
They were turning people around. They weren't allowing people to walk through there.
So he couldn't have possibly gone... He couldn't have walked by the victim. He would have had to walk near her.
Yep, they were tearing up the roads that the carriages were on and also the sidewalk. Because sidewalks are also referred to as roads.
Yes, and it will prompt the other members of the jury to reconsider their stance as well. They'll be asking themselves for their current leanings are really right or not. Now, if only we could just identify one more clue or discrepancy that would make them stop doubting Mr. Natsume. We might be able to tip the balance completely.
Yes, that's exactly what we've got to do. Okay, Mr. Van Zykes is looking to bring this trial to an early conclusion, is he? That's what we have to prevent. But by whatever means we can have at our disposal. Thank you, Consul. On with the summation examination, please. Yes, my lord. Thank you. Okay. I have to say not guilty at this point, so I can see where this trial goes from here.
So, the poor woman was attacked from behind, was she? How dreadful.
Okay.
We don't really know if she was attacked from behind, though.
Yeah, but I don't think she's it. Remember, she couldn't see anything, so she's not relevant.
Yeah.
Whether it's digging up the roads or digging up the truth, we've got to see this through to the end, haven't we?
In your books, yes, nice shop, but bourbon books, no, not worth a visit.
Okay.
Stroking beard.
Hold it!
Sorry, fold it, you say? What? Fold what? What?
No. What I said was hold it.
Fold? Oh, hold it!
Right, hold it. What I wanted to ask you, do you visit your books often?
I like the old books they have there, yes. I enjoy reading them over a nice cup of old tea. That's my daily routine, you see. Same thing every day, including the day that you're all talking about.
Ah, and what time did you visit your books on the day in question, sir?
Well, I was picking up books in there all afternoon, and it would have been just before 5 that I left. That's my daily routine, you see. Same thing every single day, including the day that you're talking about.
Just before 5, you say, exactly when the victim was attacked, correct? Are you sure about that time, though?
Yes, no mistake there. I remember it well. Not about to forget that day in a hurry. Not after that dreadful time that I had.
What do you mean?
Well, I was walking down Calabash Road when I slipped on the ice and donked my head. It's always worse after the snow stopped falling. That's when it's most slippery.
I feel how this doesn't really have any relevance to anything, but...
But he is wearing a green coat, and he did fall on the road. So
Oh.
in reality, it might have relevance to it.
Oh, okay.
Look at his green overcoat.
Yeah,
Maybe-
that's true.
Knocked myself clean out, I did, or I really thought my number was up then.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. This happened on Cabish Road?
Yes, Calabash Road. That's right. I live in Cornpipe, you see. Heading down Calabash Road is the quickest way for me to get back from your books.
Juror number 6, I must insist that you add that information to your formal statement. It may very well be extremely significant.
What? Sorry, what? Extremely sick? No, I am quite alright now.
I didn't ask if you were feeling unwell.
You've changed 2 of the jurors' minds, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, just 2 more to go.
Deliver the finishing blow now. It's time to turn the tables here.
I wish I knew how to do that, Susie takedown. I suppose words will have to suffice for now. Okay. For pity's sake, you little nipponese, I am incredibly prejudiced.
If he said that a woman in green collapsed before his eyes, why, it can only have been the victim.
No, it couldn't have been.
What about,
Whoops.
it could have been the guy...
The
It could've
guy
been
who has
other
the green
guy.
coat. Right. Okay.
And also he thought it was a woman, but he didn't know.
Juror number 6 and juror number 2.
Objection!
Those 2 statements clearly show a flaw in the juror's reasoning. A flaw? What are you talking about, Consul? Well, juror number 2, juror number 6.
Whatever do you mean, sir?
I think perhaps the old man didn't hear you at all, Naruhodo.
Unbelievable. It's not like I was loud or anything. There's at least one fact of which we can be sure here, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. The bookshop receipt found in the defendant's room clearly indicates that, 1, on the day of the attack, he had been to your books and purchased a number of secondhand titles. He then returned home on foot.
But the man says he has no recollection of his return journey.
That's correct. But what he does remember is seeing someone appear in front of him on the way. Someone in a green overcoat who suddenly collapsed on the pavement before his very eyes.
Yes, we're aware of this. The poor young woman was stabbed, obviously.
Objection!
Hold on, please. Can we really be sure of that, madam?
Why, whatever do you mean?
I'm sure you heard the juror number 6 account of what happened to him on that day. That same afternoon, there was somebody else apart from the victim who was wearing a green overcoat and fell over on the icy streets in the neighborhood.
Oh my!
What? Oh my goodness! You mean... That's right, juror number 3. I'm referring to, of course, our hard of hearing juror number 6.
Eh? Are you really suggesting that the person in green overcoat, whom the defendant saw collapse in front of his eyes, was the jolly old gentleman on the end of the bench here with me today?
That is entirely possible, yes. After all, the old man has somewhat similar build to the victim. Well, look at that.
Oh my goodness me! Sorry, you need a pee?
Wow. Alright. And crucially, we now precisely where the old man in green overcoat fell down.
On Calabash Road!
Therefore, if the person who Mr. Natsumi saw collapsing in front of him was in fact juror number 6, that means the defendant must have taken the long route back to his lodgings. And if that's true, then clearly the crime scene on Briar Road where the woman was stabbed was not on his way home.
Oh my!
Whoa.
That means he may have not even been involved.
You idiot, old man. If you had been so daft as to be roaming around there, we would have boxed this up hours ago.
And really, what were you thinking wearing such a befuddled coat? What did you say to me? It's a crime for the elderly to walk on the streets these days, is it? Is it a crime to slip on the ice, eh? Is it a crime to keep up with the latest styles? Wear a beautiful green overcoat? Is it?
Hold it!
My lord, I do hope it won't cause any inconvenience, but,
You'd like to change your leaning, I presume?
yes. I do declare that I would. I should like to call for a verdict of not guilty now.
Thank you.
And I would too.
What?
Well, it's a crime to... Is it a crime to change your mind for an old man, is it? Well...
Wow. You make a very cute old man. Da-dun!
The best voice that I do is an old man voice.
Oh, stop. Well then, the summation examination has concluded with a rather large shift in opinion. The ayes 2, the nays 4. So nays have it, not guilty, they say. Which means we no longer have a consensus among the members of the jury. The trial will continue.
Objection!
Objection, Your Honor. I'm going to break my glass again, probably. Or not. Yes, I love breaking glass shards in my hand. The blood, the crimson color is my favorite. Could it seem that the churlish of me to drink from my hallowed chalice moments after rising in objection? Only to crush it in disgust. Pray forgive the discourtesy. Lord Van Zykes? It seems I must retract my earlier remark. What do you mean? I mistakenly credited these jurors with intelligence, but describing them is insightful. Yet we have just witnessed them falling for a cheap trick performed by our Eastern entertainer. Hey!
Whatever do you mean?
Objection! I haven't tricked anyone. Everything I've said is the truth. Indeed, stalwart jury number 5 was undoubtedly repairing the road as he claims. I believe you said it was a good 2 yards of the pavement which you had excavated. Yes, that's right. It took me the whole day and they paid me a measly tuppence for it. Now, my learned friend, tell me. Do you have any notion of the distance that 2 yards represents? Well, if I'm honest, I don't have a clue now.
2 yards is a little less than 2 meters, Ryunosuke.
Let's see, then 2 meters, that's not much at all. In other words, a distance readily vaulted by anyone who's moderate vigor. Would you not agree, Mr. Stalwart friend? Me? Well, I can't say you're wrong now. What? And did you perchance erect a sign to prevent pedestrians from passing the site of your works? I wouldn't have dreamed of it. What a waste of time. No coaches would have had open passing anyway, and we just turn any gentlefolk back from when they came. Kids just jump over us all the time. The accused is no gentleman as far as I can see. I have little doubt, however, that he could spring over a 2-yard trench in his meanderings around town. Ah!
Is that true, is it?
The truth is that the books just purchased by the accused were found at the scene. There can be no doubt that on his way back to his lodgings, Mr. Natsumi walked down Briar Road. Ah! Crushed in a single sentence. Zelda. And old man!
Cold man! You can talk.
You see that at 5 o'clock on the day in question you slipped and fell at Kabalish Road. Pray, was there a suspicious-looking Nipponese behind you at the time?
I can't say as I remember if it was.
You don't remember? I mean, he fell and hit his head.
Well...
How about the wager, my learned friend? You say it was this old man that the accused saw, but I would lay 1,000 to 1 against you being able to prove it. Yeah!
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
But also he was carrying books, like somebody says in the chat. He was carrying books, so it would be hard to jump that.
Order! Order, Lord Van Jykes!
If you were carrying a tremendous pile of books, it'd be hard to jump.
I agree. Explain yourself, my lord. If you had such a trenchant argument up your sleeve, why in the world would you not proffer it during the Summation Examination? I wanted to give this young foreign student the sightseeing experience he no doubt came for. I wanted him to see for himself how the opinion of the jury is so readily swayed.
Yep.
But my hospitality has its limits, and they have been reached, I feel. Oh, the cape's off. So, my learned friend, today's sightseeing tour of London is now over. What? What are you talking about? My lord, the prosecution requests permission to call its next witness to the stand. Granted. Bailiff, bring forth the witnesses, please. It's the next witnesses.
Mr. Naruhodo, do you not remember? We've been told on several occasions that there were eyewitnesses to this incident.
Yeah, I remember. One of them being a Scotland Yard policeman, no less.
I'm afraid that's likely to be the prosecution's next witness.
All right, no matter who Van Zieks brings to the stand as his witness, and no matter what they say, I believe in Natsumi-san. I think he's innocent. And I'll keep believing it to the very end, until this battle is over. Witness, please state your names and occupation for the court.
Zelda, please do not mess up the stream.
Oh, a lovey-dovey couple. Constable Royal Bit, sir. Nothing to report on the street site.
Is that like Warren Beatty? Like Beatty?
I don't know. I don't know.
And I'm Miss Beatty. Patricia's my name. I mean, Mrs.
Oh, jeez.
Zelda, you deserve that one.
I'm Miss Beatty. Patricia's my name. I'm proud to say that I'm this young town hero's wife.
Well, he doesn't... He looks kind of out of it. Either that or he's really in love, or I don't know.
I don't know what to say.
It's a lovey-dovey couple. They're kind of cute.
Okay.
I'm proud to say that I'm this young town's hero's wife.
What's the story here?
Well, in truth, we've not been married that long. In fact, we celebrated our first anniversary only the other day.
No, it was your husband I was asking about. He seems tired. Hardly surprising. Whilst being an honorable occupation, patrolling the beat is the most demanding work in the world. Oh, really? I'm sure I've heard that before, actually. Indeed, apart from the rare days off, our gallant officers trudge through some 20 miles a day, you know. They patrol boarding houses and pubs, collect taxes, survey the streets, check the meters are reading true, and they are responsible for keeping the streets clean and lighting and extinguishing our street lights. Wow.
Wow, there are a number of items on that list. They don't sound much like policing duties at all.
I wouldn't just be falling asleep on my feet. I would have been collapsed long ago. But it goes without saying that a policeman's primary duty is to apprehend criminals. Even when he's off duty, a constable is expected to investigate and resolve any crimes on his beat. For London's Bobby is a man of honor. Raleigh, I think is his name.
I don't know, I guess.
And a man of slumber.
Rolly or Raleigh? I guess Raleigh.
On the day in question, this man and his wife were walking down Briar Road in the opposite direction, and they witnessed the incident as it occurred. Is that not correct, Mr. and Mr. Beat? I think his name is Beat.
It might be Beat
cop.
because it's cop.
Oh, that's right, sir. Isn't it, Rolly?
Constable Raleigh, sir! Nothing to report on the street. Say, yep. Look. Ah, what a great witness he's gonna be. Very good.
Can't remember anything. He's so tired.
I'd like to hear your formal testimonies now, please. You will tell the court exactly what you saw on the afternoon of the incident. Yes, sir! He can barely stand. It's cute that they're wearing the same scarf. She probably made them. His hat has been all patched up, too.
What the witnesses saw.
It was our wedding anniversary, and Rolly was taking me out for a meal. There was no time to change after work. Anyway, two silhouettes appeared out of the fog on the pavement in front of us. All of a sudden, one of them just collapsed on the floor. Then the other scattered something before running off. We ran straight over, of course, and then went for help at a nearby police box. It was definitely that Japanese man in the dock. Rolly and I both saw him clear as day.
Well, you saw him, but Rolly didn't see anything.
Well, this is extremely compelling testimony, I must say. Ha!
Oh dear! This policeman and his wife are claiming to have positively identified Mr. Natsume at the scene. If their testimony is true, the alternative course of events that you established in the Summation Examination will be quashed.
It's death knell, in fact. Because that alternative was never viable in the first place. What an unfortunate benching, bechancing, and on your wedding anniversary, too.
Oh, I know, but I still managed to go out for the evening with my man. I thank the Lord for that.
Gosh, the life of a London Bobby seems very hard indeed.
Indeed, however, this cross-examination will be over in minutes. You may well have time to rest this afternoon. What do you mean about that? My learned friend, the witnesses saw the face of the man fleeing the scene. They are testifying under oath, and that it was without a doubt the accused, Mr. Natsume. Uh-oh. And one of these witnesses is a policeman, no less. So you appreciate the gravity of situation, I'm sure. Oh, that's true. Except that the man's so tired, his wife has to do all the talking.
Yup, he can't even see anything.
Enough! Counsel for the defense, commence the cross-examination, if you please. Oh, yes, my lord. I can do that, I think. Mostly. What the witnesses saw. Dun, 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 dun,
It was our wedding anniversary, and Rowley was taking me out for a meal. There was no time to change after work.
Hold it!
No time to change after work, you say? Are you also a member of the police, Miss Beat?
Oh no, sadly not. It's a job for strapping young men only. Women, children, and the elderly can't even apply for that.
Well, maybe in the future they will. I think you can probably see why children and the elderly can't do the job, can you? Whoops. Meant to hit the next button.
Oh, I think Rowley looks ever so handsome in his uniform. It suits you down to the ground, doesn't it, darling? Doesn't it? Darling?
What? 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 Ah, I just finished my beat.
Darling?
Pat and I were heading back to the station. I was actually planning on getting changed there. Is he talking in his sleep? This is creepy.
Oh, no, Rowley. I must much prefer you in uniform. Sometimes I don't recognize you when I see you in plain clothes.
Oh dear, that doesn't seem healthy at all. No, it does not.
Kindly adhere to the point, please. You were going for a meal after you finished your beat for the day, correct?
So she's only married to him because he looks good in a uniform. Wow.
That's right, sir, yes, although I was fit to drop, to be honest, after spending the whole day on me feet. But policing is my life. As long as I'm proud owner of this, I'll serve my city and my queen to the end. What's that now? My warrant card. Proof that I'm a London copper. It was the noble founding principles of the force written on it as a reminder of us policemen of our sworn duty. To patrol the streets of London town and uphold the peace of the common man. And for such a noble cause, I cover 20 miles every single day, without fail and without a grumble. Because I know that the pounding of my boots is all the Londoners need to hear to feel safe and secure. So, fighting crime doesn't appear to come into that then. But sir, just one day in particular I was looking forward to celebrating my wedding anniversary. Mrs. Beat puts up with a lot being married to a hubby like me. I wanted to show my dear wife how much I care. Oh, Pat.
Oh, Raleigh.
Oh, so cute.
Oh, what a charming couple. Their young love is such a joy to behold.
If a little over the top, perhaps. And then, kindly describe what happened next, please.
Anyway, two silhouettes appeared out of the fog on the pavement in front of us.
Hold it!
Hang on a second. Two silhouettes, you say?
That's right. They were coming towards us, walking up Briar Road in the opposite direction.
Okay.
So, Briar Road, but we weren't even on Briar Road.
There was a rather plump figure, followed by a scrawny, thin-looking man.
That does sound exactly like the victim as pictured in this print, and like Mr. Natsume.
Yes.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, unfortunately it does. And you're certain that at the time there was nobody else nearby.
Oh, yes. Quite certain. It was dark, but there's streetlights on Briar Road, you see. There was nobody else around at all. Isn't that right, my darling? Darling?
Ah!
Darling, isn't that right?
Oh, what be going on, Bigora? What?
Darling?
What? Oh, yes, that's right. Of course. There was a light fog on the ground. But Briar Road is dead straight, and you could see fairly long way down the pavement. And then there's the street lighting as well. I didn't see any other pedestrians. Before sleep takes a firm hold, your answer please, Mr. Beat. Are you quite sure of what you just said? Yes, sir. As a copper who spends all day, every day, keeping watch on the streets, I'd swear to it, sir. I'm as sure as my love for Patricia is true. Oh, pet!
Oh, Raleigh!
They're still maintaining that there was no one else around when the victim and the attacker collided. It's starting to seem like that must be how it really happened.
It's beginning to seem like there's nowhere to run.
Well, that didn't stop Mr. Natsubi, did it? He fled the scene all too convincingly.
Yep.
Yes, thank you. I believe we have a reasonably clear idea of the situation just before the incident now. And what happened in the crucial moments that followed. Dun, 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 dun.
All of a sudden, one of them just collapsed on the floor. Then the other scattered something before running off.
Scattered something. Hold it.
What do they scatter?
Scattered something? What do you mean by that?
Oh, well, I couldn't really make out what it was at the time. But then when we got closer, we realized what it was. Didn't we, darling? Darling? Darling?
Oh, what
Didn't we?
What? Oh, Saints preserve us, what? Ah, yes, that's right. It was some old books. I see, old books, was it? Oh, yes, sir. The culprit had dropped a number of them all around where the victim lay on the pavement. Indeed, as clearly pictured in this photographic print. Showing us the picture again. Oh my god.
Rotten Japanese man did that when he did the deed, I'm sure.
Hang on a second. Let's not do name calling. Let's not forget that it remains to be established that the defendant was indeed the attacker. Wait, let's not forget that it remains to be established, meaning it hasn't been...
Yeah, it remains to be established. Yeah, still.
But we saw him! It was the man in the dock without a question, sir. The mustache, the hunched back, the cat-like eyes, the taunt mouth, and the snub nose, everything.
I thought you said it was Foggy.
Any more insults you want to throw in?
That's right. He looked down at that poor defenseless woman with those terrifying, intense eyes, and then suddenly threw his books on the pavement and ran away.
I see. This is tough. They seem as though they're telling the truth here. May I remind the court that this ambiguous testimony comes from a policeman and his wife. Now please, continue. Oop. Ah, yes, sir!
Oh my gosh.
Poor guy.
We went straight over the course and then went for help at a nearby police box.
Hold it!
Okay. Was it your husband who went and fetched help?
Oh no, I went. I may not be a police officer myself, but I'm the proud wife of one after all. Isn't that right, my darling? Darling, isn't that right? Darling?
What?
Darling!
Oh, what be happening now? Oh yes, that's right. I asked Miss B to go. I was off duty by that point. But a Bobby's never truly off duty, of course, so I felt obliged to stay and guard the scene. Very laudable, Mr. B. Preserving the scene of the crime is a task of considerable importance. That's why I sent Patricia, you see. I told her where to find the right police books. Forgive my ignorance, but what do you mean exactly, the right police box? Depends on a crime's location, you see, as to who deals with it. Where the woman was stabbed wasn't actually on me beat.
What?
So I told Patricia the way to the police box for the beat the incident fell under, so she could go and report it.
I ran there as quickly as I could and asked for help from the Bobby on duty. There's nothing more potent than a young couple in love working together, you know.
And thanks to your swift response, the case was quickly resolved, the actions of the two model citizens.
Oh, please, you're making us blush. Isn't he, darling? Isn't he making us blush?
Oh, what now? What?
Isn't he making us blush,
Oh.
darling?
Oh, where's the pot of gold around the rainbow? What? Yes, sir. What Patricia said is sir, so what?
I don't
What?
feel like he's
Oh,
really there at all.
Let's move on, shall we?
This is just weird.
I have no idea what the foggiest is even going on at this point.
It was definitely that Japanese man in the dock. Rowley and I both saw him, clear as day.
Hang on a second. But surely you wouldn't have been able to see his face by the light of the gas street lamps, now would you? Whoops.
Oh,
Oh,
we absolutely
what?
could!
Oh,
Us Londoners
what?
have exceptional
Oh,
eyesight, I'll have you know.
Why?
Don't we, darling?
Oh, God.
Eyesight.
No.
We have eyesight.
Right. Oh, why pulling so hard? Oh.
Don't we have exceptional eyesight?
No.
The light from the street lamps is more than enough.
Oh.
My husband already told you that the fog was only light.
Oh.
Didn't he?
Choking me.
Didn't he, darling?
Only half asleep. Yes, that's what of the fog? We're famous for it across the globe, I believe. But it's absolute menace to those of us who have to live with it, of course. Oh!
Oh, it is! It is! When it's thick, you can't even see the hand in front of it, and the end of your own arm!
Oh, Patricia, if you keep this up, I'm going to be strangled to death, I will. Yes, right. I take your point now. Could you stop shaking your poor husband about?
The constant fog makes our eyes very sharp, you see. That's why we can tell you for sure and certain that it was that little Japanese man that we saw. Can't we, darling? Darling?
Oh!
Darling? Can't we?
What now? Oh, what? Ah, yes! It was accused. No mistake, I'm pretty sure. The mustache, the hunchback, the cat-like eyes. The toad mouth is not unmistakable, sir. Ah, as far as this couple's testimony is concerned, there can't be any question. It was Natsumi they saw running away from the scene of the crime. But maybe they were on a different street.
That sounds like Amber's talking to Luke's Sons of Gaming.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, depends how late I've been up. So that's it. That's their entire testimony, is it? What is it, Susie?
What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo?
Well, I hate to admit it, but on hearing the testimony, it really does seem as though Mr. and Mrs. Beat saw what they saw. Mr. Natsumi running away from the scene on Briar Road that day.
Yes, I feel the same.
So if that's true, where does it leave us?
The members of the jury are sure to call for a guilty verdict after this testimony.
Oh no! Then what do we do?
If Kazuma-sama was here...
Huh? What are you trying to say?
I think he would try to find a contradiction somewhere else within their testimony, Ryunosuke.
What do you mean, somewhere else?
Their statement about seeing Mr. Natsumi is unequivocal. Calling that into question won't even help. But if you could identify some other part of their testimony which appears to contradict the facts, you might be able to discredit them to make the jury doubt if the pair's memory of that day was accurate.
Oh, right! You mean the one where she's strangling her husband?
Put simply, we must focus on finding a discrepancy in these statements somewhere. If we don't, I'm afraid the trial may reach an early and unfavorable conclusion.
Oh, that's true. Alright, so we need to move...
Well,
oh, it's already moved to 7.
It's hard to really have their testimonies contradict because he's just saying, yeah, sure it was, to whatever she's saying.
That's
so
true.
It's
yeah.
really hard. Whatever she could say there was a pink elephant there and he'd be like, sure, whatever.
If my wife says there's a pink elephant, then she saw it, because she's always right. Oh, why do I always seem to be up against, like, so many intense odds?
Everyone feels sorry for the guy. He's being pulled around in his scarf.
Mr. Lawyer, sir, may I ask you something?
Huh? Oh, yes, of course. What is it?
Well, you keep asking us all these questions about everything that we've told you, so it seems like you don't believe our testimony. Is that right, is it? Well, out with it, out with it!
What? No. It's really not that at all, actually.
Why is she making her husband punch the air?
My husband's a policeman, remember? And I know what you saw I did. I remember every last detail. Everything like, oh, I know. What about the books the man dropped, then? I could tell you the names of every single one I could. Every single one. Everyone! And how dare you question
no, not again.
how reliable my testimony is?
Oh, please.
How dare you?
Oh, I have to work tomorrow.
How dare you question it?
Please stop strangling your husband in the middle of the... Oh my gosh, you can't interrupt me like this.
No, it won't do it all, it won't. Questioning me on my testimony I've obviously seen. The Japanese lawyer has no idea what I'm capable of. Even if I decide to forgive him for insulting us, don't think for a minute that Raleigh will. Raleigh's gonna punch the air, he is.
I really don't mean to cause offense. Please, just put your husband's fist down. Perhaps you would like the opportunity to supplement your testimony, Miss Beat? Oh my goodness. Might that appease you?
Huh? Oh, thank you, my lord. That would settle things nicely. Wouldn't it, darling? Darling? Darling?
Oh, there it is, another rainbow. What be happening here? Where be I?
I could even tell you the names of the 4 books you dropped at the scene. Yes, I could, if you wanted to know the names.
Alright, hang on.
It was definitely the Japanese man.
Alright, let's see how many statements she has. 1, 2,
Here's 1. Yep, that's the second
3,
one. 3,
4,
4,
5,
5,
and 6.
6.
This is the one where she started to strangle her husband. And also, weren't the books ruined when they fell in the snow? How would she be able to read the name of the books? That's what I'm going
Yeah,
with.
that's weird.
But do we have a thing that shows the books in question?
Did we have a photograph? I thought we have a photograph somewhere in our court record.
What button presses again? Present?
Yep, present R1. Press is L1.
Yeah.
So those are the books.
I mean, it doesn't look like
I
the
just
books are
see
ruined.
3 books.
How many books did she say?
She said there were 4.
Oh, you're right. So there's only 3 books in the picture. Hold on a second, please. So you're saying that there were 4 books?
Oh, that's right. I remember all of them, I do. The picture of Monsieur Somebody, what's it, yearnings, a meal for someone, and the thingy-gummies, something. You didn't remember their names at all.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Beat.
What?
But there is a fundamental flaw in this statement of yours just now.
Oh, no. What flaw? What are you talking about?
Simply that, at the scene of the crime, there were only 3 books, not 4!
Huh? What?
Have a good look at this photograph, if you will, of the scene of the crime. As you can clearly see, there are only 3 books here.
Oh, no. That can't be. I saw them. Oh, I know what it is. Yes, you can't fool me.
I'm sorry, what?
It's that big old lump of a dead body. The lady's so large. Her corpse is blocking the view of the 4th book. That's all it is. That's all.
Let's at least try to remember that the poor woman isn't quite dead yet. It's only a flesh wound, even if we're insulting her size. No, I'm sorry, Mrs. Beat. But Mr. Natsumi could not Mr. Natsumi could not have possibly dropped the 4 books you described.
Well, why not?
Fascinating. And from your assured tone, something you can readily substantiate with evidence, I presume. Ah, evidence. The receipt of the books. Consul, you will present evidence to substantiate your claim or withdraw it. What proof do you have that the accused did not drop 4 books? 1, 2, 3. 3 books.
He only bought 4. Yeah, he only bought 3 books.
The evidence is right here, Your Honor, in the form of the bookshop's receipt. From your books? Yes, that's right. This receipt details Mr. Natsumi's purchase that day. But as you can see, only 3 books are listed.
No!
Therefore, Mr. Natsumi would have only dropped 3 books at the scene of the crime. Which means that your powers of observation, madam, cannot be relied upon.
Oh my gosh.
What?
So, it cannot be denied that though you say you saw the defendant, you could very well be mistaken.
Oh, no!
Oh, they're so poor. They've got, like, patches all over them. Alright, I've had enough of this farce. It is plainly evident that it is your powers of deduction that cannot be relied upon, my learned Japanese friend. What? What cannot be denied is that these two witnesses saw the accused running from the scene. A fact that you very well know you have no hope of disproving. Ah! So, you strive to avert attention from that by dint of some inconsequential. Some very inaccurate discrepancies.
Yep.
Would that be fair? It's hard to speak words and do the voices, though.
I know that, sweetheart.
Oh, he sees right through me. But your plan was somewhat recoiled against you.
Yep, everyone in the chat was saying, receipt, show the receipt.
What are you talking about? It's quite simple. Let me explain with a toast to your stupidity. Yes, to the policeman's wife and her entirely accurate testimony in every respect. You see, the matter is not up for debate. At the scene of Briar Road, a total of 4 books were most definitely found.
Objection.
Hold on. But, what about the photographic print? It only shows 3 books. Quite right, only 3 can be seen in that print. That print? You mean to say... Allow me to present another one that shows the victim's hand.
She was holding a book.
I don't believe it! It's the 4th book! As you well observe. The 4th book was hidden from view in the original print by the victim's torso. No! No!
Yeah, but that means...
It's still not Natsumi because his receipts...
He only bought 3.
Order! Order!
There! You see, look at that! Look!
Yes?
Just like it said, isn't it, darling? Darling?
What? Oh, Patricia's always right, sir. Let us study the receipt for the books purchased by the accused of the day in question. Mrs. Beat, the titles once again, if you please.
Oh, yes, of course. The picture of Monsieur somebody or other.
The picture of Monsieur Lequay, or whatever. Something French.
Yeah. What's it? The next one was what's it? Yearnings.
Canterbury Yearnings.
Just that. And then a meal for someone.
A meal for Gabor or something. I don't know. As the court just heard, the witness remembers the book titles flawlessly, more or less, save for a few minor details. Mrs. Beat's powers of recollection can only be described as exceptional.
Yeah, but what about the 4th book?
Did you hear that, Raleigh? The gentleman paid me a compliment, Raleigh. Did you hear it?
Oh, flawless, sir. Patricia's flawless. But these are only 3 books on the receipt, and Mrs. Beat mentioned 4. There's nothing surprising about that. Clearly, the 4th book is that which is shown in this photographic print. I'm sorry, Consul, but does that not seem odd? Why would the 4th book be omitted from the receipt? It's not odd at all, my lord. As the photograph clearly shows, the 4th book was found in the victim's clutches. In other words, it belongs to the victim. The victim was holding her own book?
I wonder what became of that 4th book.
Obviously, it wasn't overlooked by the investigating officers at Scotland Yard. I have it here as evidence. You will submit that and the aforementioned photographic print to the court, please, Consul. It would be my pleasure, Your Honor. The 2nd crime scene photograph has been added into the court record. Uh-oh.
Thanks for the likes, everyone. Thank you, Simons. Yep. If you guys can leave a like, it would help us out a lot in the search engine. Thank you.
The prosecution rests, Your Honor. I have nothing further to add. Good luck, my Nipponese friend. What? You seem surprised, my learned friend. But your resistance until now has been in vain. Entertaining, yes, but futile. this surplus longer no longer bleh. The suppressed route no longer to the accused lodgings that you tried to establish in your summation examination, and the attempted discrediting of the witness's powers of recollection in your cross-examination. Futile? I walked right into that, didn't I?
You see, everything we've said is true. Isn't that right, my darling? Isn't it right?
Oh, yes, Pat. Marry me, Pat.
I did.
Yes, very cute. So, perhaps the ladies and gentlemen of the jury would like to reconsider their positions. Should the court waste any more time on this Nipponese travesty? Wow. Or is the decision you have to make all too apparent already? You have heard all the witnesses and seen all the evidence. This trial has run its course.
Mr. Naruhodo, I'm afraid we are in a terrible precarious position.
I know, but if we fight back in the wrong way now, it could very well just make matters worse. Think, Ryunosuke, think. What do you do now? Probably raise an objection, wouldn't you? I mean, it's Phoenix Wright, so, it's Ace Attorney, so, objection!
Yep, objection!
Objection! Anyway, I'm not done yet, probably. No, my learned friend, it is over. That last cross-examination was your final chance to establish a credible defense, and you failed. The die has been cast. There is no more room for debate. Well, it might be over as far as you're concerned, but... I can't think of what to say.
If I may, Lord Van Zykes. It seems somewhat boorish to close down the debate at this point.
Your insignificant little Eastern Isle must be a lawless hole indeed.
Wow.
For a lowly judicial assistant to have the audacity to intervene at a moment like this.
What the? Oh!
Throw him, Susie! Throw him!
Susato takedown!
I am, to my shame, still a very inexperienced lawyer. But that is not how you speak to a woman. So you'll forgive me, but consider my assistant's advice essential and her opinions invaluable.
Mr. Naruhodo!
And that's how I end up marrying Susie in the future. Haha. Very interesting. Time travel. One of this land's great guiding principles is tolerance, so the court will hear you and madam. Go ahead, Miss Susie. The floor is yours. Very well. Pray, what insight can you give us? What have we overlooked in this matter that you see fit to pursue further? Take it away, Susie.
Well, the court has been presented with new evidence, but only after the last cross-examination's finished.
I see. And you believe that this new evidence warrants further examination, do you? What?
Mr. Naruhodo, what do you think? It's just possible that this new evidence might be the decisive point that we've been waiting for. The judge is sure to ask the members of the jury to announce their leanings in a moment.
And of course, whoops, that's you still.
And of course, he's sure to ask you to explain what the crucial piece of evidence is and why. So we must take this opportunity to examine the newly presented evidence as thoroughly as possible.
Yeah, I understand. And thank you, Miss Sasato. This is it. Susie has managed to win us one last chance here. I can't let it go to waste. The defense wishes to present evidence, my lord. What? Very well. The defense may present one further piece of evidence. Evidence that apparently offers a profound insight into this case. Well, the only new evidence we have is this book.
I mean, it's... What's happening on the back?
The Lion's Pride?
What?
The fire! This is from...
But how could it be? Oh, look at this! The book has been badly burnt!
You're right. You'd never be able to read it in this state, especially not the later pages.
What a terrible waste!
The guy was having an affair.
He was having an
He
affair.
was having an affair with another big woman.
But it wasn't somebody like, yeah.
I think the lady in green. Yeah.
Judging from the scorched edges of the paper, I think the damage must have occurred very recently.
A book recently damaged by fire. Why does that seem to raise a red flag with me?
Oh my gosh.
Wow, that's terrible.
He probably killed her, so...
To shut her up. Alright, well.
Take that!
The evidence in question is what we can see from the newly presented photograph print of the crime scene. The fourth book found in the victim's hand.
Objection!
We have already discussed the fourth book at length. Other than it belongs in the victim's grasp at the time of the incident, no significance has been attached to it. Pursuing the matter further would be flagrant waste of time. Ah! Yes, I'm afraid, Consul, I must concur with the prosecution on this matter. When I afforded you this opportunity, you led the court to believe that the evidence in question contained a hitherto to the undiscovered clue. It did! The book's all burned! So I must insist that you elaborate, Consul. You will identify this clue at once. Do I make myself clear? Yes. My lord. It's their,
Mr. Naruhodo! I do believe the prosecution is trying to avoid a thorough examination of the evidence, which means you may very well be on the right track.
Yes, I think you might be right. So, Consul, precisely where is the vital clue on this case which the fourth book conceals? It's the burn mark. Obviously, you can't see this with your eyes.
Burn mark, yep.
I would ask the court to observe the back of the book in question. The back of the book, what do you... Good gracious! It's been burnt to a crisp! So we have to ask ourselves, why was the victim clutching what is clearly an unreadable book? It's undeniably an entirely unnatural thing for her to have been doing!
Thank you, Abe Kumar from watching from India said we made his childhood and he's watching at 3 a.m.
Thank you.
right now. Thank you so much.
Unnatural, you say? What do you mean, my Japanese friend? Oh? Where I concede the point, if it bears no relation to the case, there is nothing to discuss. So, should you wish to assert what these fire damages in some veiled clue as to what happened that day? Pray, do enlighten us all. What truth does this charred book hide? A charred book. There's just one possibility here, which I can't quite bring myself to rule out. It's an outside chance, certainly, but worth a try. Alright, I'll explain my theory then. Don't keep us all waiting any longer, defense. Explain this theory of yours at once. What are you suggesting that the ascertain from the fire damage the Saritomas suffered?
Its owner. Because it's owned by that other guy.
The owner of the book?
The owner of the book is that other man, I believe.
You're right.
That's what I think. It's not her book. She borrowed it.
My lord, the burn on the back of this book reveals a startling truth about the book's owner. I beg your pardon?
But we already know who the book belongs to, don't we?
Oh, why?
The victim was
What?
gripping
Stop.
it with her
Please.
hands.
Oh.
She fell to the floor after all.
Oh.
It's obviously
Oh, I
hers.
haven't
Isn't
slept
that
at all.
right,
Oh, for
Brawley?
the love of all, Mike, please stop, Patricia.
Brawley?
The question of how this book came to be in the victim's hands has yet to be answered. However, as to the question of who the book really belongs to and where it originated, the defense has a very credible answer. Good gracious, how can you possibly? Very well, I'll play along with this futile attempt to delay your inevitable demise. But do remember, the members of this jury may well burn you if your little gamble goes awry. Counsel, the defense's response here is very likely to influence the final outcome of this trial. So tell the court, who do you claim is the owner of this burnt book?
The crazy guy. The
Yep.
guy with the slap mark.
Take that!
And his wife is on the...
And his wife is on the jury, yep. Interesting. The answer is that the book belongs to the couple who own the house where the defendant has his home. A certain Mr. and Mrs. Garadeb. The landlords. And whether this is some extraordinary coincidence or some kind of fated work, I don't know, but... of all the people in London, one of 6 chosen for jury duty in this courtroom today is none other than Mrs. Garadeb herself.
Oh my goodness me! I think you must be mistaken, sir. I'm not Mr. McGarren's wife. I'm his maid.
Things should be much easier if you would just drop the pretense. Alright then, how about a simple question for you then? Have you ever seen this book, Mr. Garadeb's house, by the way?
Oh, I would never presume to know all the books he keeps, sir.
Objection! This is outlandish behavior. This woman is accused landlady, as you say. You implicate this hard-working member of the public, you besmirch her without a shred of evidence. Your actions are unforgivable. Objection! This is not a mere conjecture. The defense happens to know that on the day in question, at the almost exactly the same time as the victim was stabbed on the pavement below, another incident was taking place in the room on the top floor of Mr. and Mr. Garadeb's house. Good lord! What sort of incident, counsel? A fire, my lord. Frank to say, it happened in the blink of an eye, you know. The whole place filled with smoke. Couldn't see a bally of a thing. Didn't take long for the fire to spread, of course. The bally furniture started going up as well. Worst of it, I lost my favorite book called The Lion's Pride. Oh.
He said it was his favorite book.
The Lion's Pride. By Jove, that's the very same title that the subject of this debate.
Oh dear me!
Objection!
Objection! This is, whatever. This risible. All that told the court is that the book by the same name was involved in a fire. In which case, it would be reasonable to assume that it was burnt to ashes. And entirely unreasonable to infer that it magically removed itself from the scene of the crime. Perhaps it would make more sense if I told you that the, cause of the fire was a marital discord. Without going into details, it appears that Mrs. Garadeb was considerably enraged. Apparently, she continued to attack Mr. Garadeb even amid the flames.
Oh, how awful! I can't even imagine being so horrid to the one you know that you love. Can't you, Rolly? Rolly?
Absolutely not. My Patricia would never raise a finger against me. At least I think so.
I'm just tugging at your scarf a bit.
She likes to strangle me, she does.
It doesn't hurt though, does it, Rolly?
I can't breathe anymore. That's why I'm so lightheaded. I had all my favorite old novels in that case, but as soon as the fire got a hold of them, that was it. Whoosh, up in smoke it was. Then the wife started hurling things at me. There was I, back up against the window, under heavy enemy fire. Incendiary books incoming, 10 to the dozen. The window could have been open.
Yeah.
The man had his back up against the window, and he had burning books thrown at him. Goodness gracious, are you suggesting that the book was thrown through the window and it landed coincidentally at the scene of the crime?
Objection!
What? No! A
What?
thorough investigation of the surrounding area was conducted the very evening of the incident, and there was no report of Mr. Garadeb's window pane being broken. That's quite true. There was also no sign of broken glass when we visited the household as well. But it is not inconceivable that the window was open at the time, and not even remotely true. Let us not forget the season and the chilling weather that accompanies it.
Yeah, but the fire.
No Londoner would ever leave a window open in the middle of winter. Ah!
But there was a fire.
Does the defense postulate the scenario in all seriousness, Consul? Do you earnestly claim that the book found at the scene was a flaming projectile thrown by Mrs. Garadeb? I believe it's a possibility, my lord.
People want to know if Raleigh can breathe.
Uh-oh. Who said that's quite enough?
That's
Uh-oh.
quite enough! Well, I hope that everyone, you can see for what you are now. You're a foreign trickster. You call yourself a lawyer, but you're just a coward. Mean coward.
Really?
Claiming that our little tips set the whole neighborhood alight. Honestly, knowing that I'm merely posing as a maid for appearance's sake. How could you? It's nothing to do with this beastly case. None of it has. All you've done is sully our family's name.
No, I assure you, it was never my intention to...
Dragging an upstanding citizen's name to the mud simply to divert attention from your failing defense. I should box your ears. That's what I should do. Totally unforgivable.
So right. Here we go.
Oh, jeez.
How long have we sat here now listening to this Nipponese spouting out his fancy foreign theories? But, I think about it, at the end of the day, the only person who could possibly have stabbed the victim is that little hunchback with a mustache. And then he ran away from the scene too.
I do declare that you're right.
It is true.
Yes, what did I tell you?
Makes sense to me.
Sorry, what is that, what?
Well, it would appear that the ladies and gentlemen of the jury are once again in full agreement. What is your position, Lord Van Zykes? I have a magic chalice and bottle once again. In truth, my lord, I feel these have been unnecessarily protracted proceedings. But then one must always exercise patience in order to savor the best vintage. Alright, no, wait! The mystery of the fourth book still hasn't been... I put my foot down. The books you are predilection? What?
If books are your predilection...
If books are your predilection, my learned friend, study them on your own time.
Whatever, dude.
What? What? No forgive the discourtesy this time?
Wow.
In that case, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will now state your individual decisions regarding the defendant's culpability for the court to hear.
Guilty.
Oh gosh.
Guilty.
Whoa.
Again?
Guilty. Guilty. Guilty.
We have to do it again?
Oh my gosh, another summation examination. Well, that'll be for tomorrow. Uh-oh.
Oh, people in the chat are saying maybe she threw the knife and the book out the window.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Thank you for your, response, jury. That's twice now. It's over.
Mr. Naruhodo, don't give up.
Huh?
Susie,
what?
Yes, have you forgotten?
Forgotten what?
The battle isn't over yet.
You're not suggesting...
Of course. The defense has the right to another summation examination. At this point, you could still convince the jurors to change their minds. You have one more chance, Ryunosuke.
My lord, the defense asked to exercise its right to summation examination again. You believe you still have tricks up your sleeve. I don't intend to trick anybody. I intend to uncover the truth. This is no time to be downcast. As long as there's a chance, I have to stay strong and determined. Alright, that's going to be the end of today's episode. Easily. Yay! There we go. Alright. Very good.
Oh my gosh, that was so crazy.
That was crazy. It's possible she threw the knife through the window.
I mean, I don't even know if that lady was part of, or she just like got thrown a book at
Just
her.
a random
person passing
bystander that gets hit with a knife, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Alright guys and gals, that's it, that's all. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment after this video. Ace Attorney will return tomorrow, and Mario and Bowser's Inside Story will be starting up around 7-ish sometime. So thanks for watching, and have a good one. We'll be back with more Ace Attorney tomorrow at 4 o'clock. All right. Till then,
All right.
God bless and happy gaming.
See ya!